In this video, we're going to talk a bit about Apache Flex components. So here is the Tour de Flex component explorer for Apache Flex. And you get to it by going to flex.apache.org/tourdeflex. And how this works is there's a number of component libraries on the side, or classifications, categories, what you will. You probably want to look at the Spark framework components to start out. Spark is the newer component set. MX framework components are the older set, though you can sort of use them both together. Somewhere to start is actually by looking at the visual components. So here you have things like how to use different container types. So for instance, H groups and V groups and things of that nature. Graphics and FXG. So this teaches you how to use things like image, for instance. And clicking on any of these will give you an example of sort of how to use these things by showing you an interactive sample above and a little Flex application below. So you can see that this MXML file, how it's laid out to use the specific image here. So this is a Spark graphic with a bitmap image within it. So there's a number of ways to do this stuff, and you can see all the different options here and actually play with those options. Going down, you've got our button controls here. So if you click on button, you can see how this stuff might work out. And you can even see how to wire up a button so that it actually does something. And of course, you can just look inside the MXML example to find out how to do that. But what I really want to talk about is mobile Flex. So I've got this little demo application built here. And if I run this, we can see exactly what it does. And it's a basic little RSS reader. So let's actually rotate this so it fits on my screen. And you can see here that we've got a home screen which just has an image. We've got an about screen that says what it is. And then we have a feed list, which is just basically pulling stuff from an RSS feed. And as you click on these different items, they jump and populate this text area here. You can click read full article to jump off and read the full article if you want. And that's all the app does. So what is this application? This is a tabbed view navigator application. And we can see here that we've used specific components for mobile called View Navigator components within our Tab View Navigator application. So these different components I've actually created under this Views package here. So we have About, Feed, and Home View. So Home View, just because it's the first one in the stack here, this is the one that actually comes up first. And you can see that Home View is defined as a view. It has a title, which populates our title area in the action bar. And then we just have an image, setting the source to the image, some kind of identifier for the application. And we're centering the image horizontally and vertically, we're smoothing the image, and we're giving it a specific width and percentage. On the About view, it's again very simple and similar in that we have a view with one component inside it. This time it's a label component, in which I've put a little bit of text in here. Feed view, of course, is much more complicated. This is the guts of the application. And again, it's another view. And just ignoring anything in this script tag here and anything in the declarations tag, because we're actually going to go through that in a different video. Just look down here at the different components that we're using. Now, in the case of Home View and About View, that's using what's known as absolute layout. And in that case, because I only have one thing, it's just easier to just center the thing absolutely at the 0, 0 position, the center of the screen, both vertically and horizontally. But for my feed view, since I actually have three separate components here, I have a list, a rich text, and a button component. So for these, I want them to stack vertically. So what I've declared here is my layout. So layout, and then within here, a vertical layout. I've given it a gap, so a 10 pixel gap between objects, and then padding for the top, the left, the right, and the bottom. So 10 pixels of padding on every side. Within here, I then declare all of my different components. So again, I have a list component here, which uses a data provider, and the data provider is coming in dynamically. Again, we'll talk about that in a different video. I can set this to 100% width, and the height I've set to 60%. This is one of the really good things about Flex, is that you can just use things like percentages, and it will calculate the percentage based on the parent container. So you can see here I've set this to 60%. For my rich text, I've set that to 40%. So even though my button down here is not set to a specific height, since these two are, they're going to take up a total of 100% regardless of whatever the height the button takes up. So again, it's very flexible. So I've also got both of these objects set to a width of 100%, so they stretch across the screen. Rich text is just where the summary description of each article goes, and the button just simply has a label to read the full article, and on click it goes out and opens a browser to go to that specific article. And that's about all it is. Anytime that you're inside of MXML and you just start typing something, like let's say I want to create a button. If I just start typing button, IntelliJ is going to give us a number of suggestions. So you can see here I've got different Spark components for button, button bar, button bar button, button base. So any of these things that you might want to use, you can always look them up inside of the Apache Flex docs and see exactly how they might be used. Or again, go to the Component Explorer and see if there's an example in there.